Jacey, you're probably wondering what I'm doing. Actually, you're probably not, because the label of this video very clearly says that I am doing a commentary. Now let me ask you a question. What do the YouTube series Game Grumps, Three Bronies Watch, and Two Best Friends Play have in common? They're all about people watching things and just talking about them. And that is something that I would like to do. Of course, unlike them, I'm not exactly that good at it, and so I have chosen to subject you to me talking about things while watching them. And you are going to cover your eyes and you'll know it burns! And you're going to cover your ears and you'll know it burns! Anyway, so this is pretty much my main fandom. Can you call it a fandom if it's just a crossover of other fandoms? Okay, this is Disney versus non-Disney villains. It's awesome. And this is also kind of like my way of saying this is really awesome if you like animated villains and some non-animated villains and you haven't watched this yet, give it a watch. Anyway, to those who are fans of the series, I'm just providing another viewpoint. I'm just going to say a few things. Lay down some guidelines. First of all, I have seen all these before. I'm not doing any of these blind. But that doesn't mean a squee won't escape every once in a while. Also, I'm going to try to do these unscripted, so I may turn out to end up boring. Very boring. What I'm just going to kind of do is talk about things as they come into my head. Yeah, I know you're all so excited. And also, I am going to try and keep the swearing down. Like, in my public YouTube persona, I don't really like swearing in my own voice. Like, I will post AMVs with explicit songs, and I will do it in unlisted videos, and I will swear to heckin' back on the forums, but I just don't like doing it in my public YouTube persona. And so, no, I will not be doing my famous catchphrase, which is, let's call it "stuff just got real" at the end of every round. So anyway, this is round one of a giant YouTube series where a bunch of villains from various media fight each other through the magic of editing. It's made by Manwoo and 73 Winmen. And, oh, sorry, I pronounced it wrong. Ever since I talked to one of my friends about it, I'm supposed to pronounce it Manwoo! So yeah, this is done by 73 Women and Manwoo! And can be found on Manwoo's channel. So, we're gonna dive into round one of this incredibly fascinating story about villains fighting each other. Let's go. I said go. Alright, it begins with Hades versus Hexus, the one that started it all. And like when I first found this is like one of those falling in love right away moments. Because I love both Hades and Hexus. Hercules was one of the Disney films that made it my childhood, and Hexus is so awesome. Toxic Love is one of my favorite villain songs of all time. How sultry it is and how awesome. So, you know, I click a video and it starts with Hexus and Hades fighting. I can't really say no to that. And it's so excellent how they did like the whole callback to summoning the Titans here. It's basically like we're doing an alternate universe of what happened in Hercules, but we're doing it with Hexus, which is really cool, because he's a fire and flame skeleton riding a chainsaw tank, and how can you really beat that? And this was hard to understand at first, but the description is that Hexus is basically saying, "No, Hades, I don't want to work for you." I love this edit. Boom! Just enters the underworld, and that's when you know it's about to get crazy. And this starts off my favorite arc. Like, Hades' story arc is my favorite thing in the whole tournament. Okay, Frollo and Rothbart coming up here. Now, Manwoo has said that he wants to retcon this round out of existence. Please don't. It starts off so many great story arcs. I know this fight is probably the reason that you don't like it that much. It's got its problems. I do really like it though. You know, it was edited well enough. And, you know, you were just beginning. You got better at doing the edits later on. See, I know what edit you're particularly not fond of. I'll put it at, first of all, the snow being there. That's really not that big of a deal. It's more along the lines of... Oh, where is it? It's coming up. Breaks the sword. And yeah, that's obviously Derek. And where did that health bar come from? And that edit is probably the worst edit in the whole series, which for being in round 1, that's a huge testament to how good the editing in this series is. Horn King versus Ramses. Like, every single fight in round 1, with one exception, I think? No exceptions. Every single fight in round 1 kickstarts this huge story arc. And Hades has one of my favorite story arcs. That intersects with another story arc that I'm not going to spoil right now because it's a big, oh my gosh moment when you first see it. Okay, anyway. Horn King, Ramses. It was an interesting matchup. At first, you know, I wasn't really sure what to think of it. I'm not actually really that big a fan of the Prince of Egypt. I'm not really that into religious movies. Sorry if that offends anyone. But this war has really made him, you know, a realistic, likable character apart from that. Actually, one of the really good things that this series has done is it's taken a lot of okay, not so-so. Ramses is a great villain. It's taken a lot of villains that I didn't really appreciate that much on their own, and it gave them new life and new fangirly appreciation. And now the Horn King is showing off just exactly how awesome he is. Okay, 73 Women is going to have my head for that. He doesn't like the Horn King, and there's actually, you know, a consensus among the fan base. The Horn King is kind of boring, and yes, that's true from an objective point of view. I like him because he actually hits all the classic cliches that I like. I love this. He floods out Ramses. That is wonderful. And this is back when people could die, but death wasn't permanent. And, I think Jenner is the only villain in this round that never got a return. Which I completely understand, because he only has so much footage. And that was the moment where you know Jenner called Ratigan a rat. You know it. We all know it. Somewhere in that moment he called him a rat, and it was there. I just love it. This is a no-holds-barred, physical, beat-down brawl. Anyway, finishing my thought on the Horn King, he just hits all the cliches that I like, you know? Tall, dark, wears the cape, threatening.